Good evening, friends. Good evening. It is Anna and Baby Hope here with you tonight. This is a different type of video for the channel. This is a first of this type of video that you're going to see. This is a mainly Reborn doll video. I know every video I've done up to this point has been mainly wax, and I've just recently started featuring the Reborns. This is my first mainly Reborn doll video, and this is a tag from Anne at Anne's Colorful Life. So thank you, Auntie Anne, for this inspiration to do mainly Reborn focused videos. Baby Hope and I are so thankful for you. Wave it at the end, Hoopy. She loves you. Anyway, so Anne has given us a list of questions here, and I came on with Baby Hope because she was my first Reborn. She was like all of my Reborns, she was adopted from Auntie Anne, but she was my first, so she's very special. And you've heard the story of like just the whole emotional piece that is to her. So of course for this first video she needed to be featured. But this tag is called All About My Dolls. So I have a list of questions here. You're going to see me looking off this way because there's questions over here that I've got in a notebook. And then I will answer these questions, and that will be tonight's video with Baby Hope. So hopefully this is not a crazy long video. The first question says, which type of hair do you prefer on your dolls? Rooted hair, painted hair, or bald babies? And I only have 3 Reborns. One is rooted hair, rooted mohair. The other 2 are painted hair. While I do love the rooted hair, it is very easy to get messed up, and I feel like I'm constantly like, oh, her hair needs work again. So I have to say painted hair is definitely my preference. I'm not a fan of the bald babies. I want them to have some type of hair, and I have to say painted hair is definitely my preference. What is the most common hair color in your collection? It's a dark brown to black, almost. Are you more drawn to boy or girls doll sculpts? All 3 of my Reborns are girls. The majority of my dolls, even as a little girl growing up, I had as little girls. I did have a couple of dolls that I had as boys because I had a couple of sets of twins. So I had boy-girl twins. But generally, I bond better and am more drawn to baby girls. Do you use disposable or cloth diapers? I am a disposable diaper mama. Now, I will tell you, especially because they are dolls, I do not change their diapers every time I change their clothes. They will wear the same diaper until that diaper is falling apart, and then I will change their diapers. What types of dolls do I have or have I had in the past? I have, actually all of my dolls are in storage totes in the basement except for my 3 Reborns. I've not gotten rid of a single doll because I was a doll fanatic as a child. I've had all kinds of dolls. I had an American Girl doll. I no longer have that American Girl doll because I gave her to a little girl who was in a situation where she really wasn't going to have Christmas, and I thought I would still get to have that doll or get to see that doll. And then 6 months later they moved and I lost all connection. So that is sad because that doll was very special to me. She was the last Christmas present that my grandfather on my dad's side had helped to pick out for me. So to lose that doll was very disheartening. But that was my American Girl doll. I had all of the Disney Princess Barbie dolls. I had a Reborn, which is like it's Baby Alive now. The doll that eats the cereal and drinks water in the bottles, like some of the silicones have the drinking wets now. That's the adult version of Baby Alive or Reborn, which I to be honest, that is like a pipe dream futuristic thing for me. Is to having all the bells and whistles silicone, which we'll talk about more later because that's another question. But I've literally had every type of doll in the book. I have a porcelain doll that I'll show off around Christmas time. She was my Nana's, which is my grandmother on my dad's side of the family. When Nana passed in June of 2020, and we were cleaning out her house, this porcelain doll that I was given is a Christmas morning baby. She is in little Christmas pajamas and little Christmas reindeer slippers. And it's like she's playing on her little rocking reindeer, that like a rocking horse, but it's a reindeer. That's like she's supposed to have gotten it for Christmas, and she falls asleep. So she's a sleeping porcelain, and she sits on this reindeer. I'll show her off at Christmas. You guys will love her. Bitty babies that are from the American Girl line were my 2 sets of twins that I had. My favorites of those 2, they were Andrew and Amanda. Goodness, I love them. Have I ever been disappointed in a baby? No, I have never been disappointed in a baby. Just disappointed with myself for some of the things I've done with my babies, or disappointed in the way that some of the babies have lasted or worked. I was very angry with myself for giving up my American Girl doll when that whole thing happened. And then the other big disappointment I had was I had a doll as a little girl that was called my dream baby. And her name was Amanda, actually, as well. I must have had a thing for the name Amanda because, yeah. Actually, dream baby was Amanda first. And then after everything fell apart with her, then one of my bitty twins was named Amanda. So I must have had a thing for the name Amanda. But my dream baby was one of those dolls that the more you interacted with her, she grew. And then when she had grown as much as she would grow, there was a reset button and you could reset her and start over, and I loved it. But this doll, because it was computerized, right, obviously, the computers kept shorting out on me, and she would just start doing things in the middle of the night, and honestly, that was a little too much for me. It was a little terrifying. So after 3 attempts to get one that would continue to work, and none of them working more than 6 weeks, we gave up on that. That was probably the biggest disappointment I've ever had with a doll. Is there such a thing as this is my last doll ever? No, I honestly don't believe there is. For those of us that love dolls, we're always going to love dolls. And so there's always going to be something else, or some new sculpt, or different thing that we want. And I'm so thrilled that Reborns have become a thing. Another thing that I love is I love to watch anything related to like any of the things like on Discovery Health or any of that, where they feature a lot of British families, because I love to hear the accent. So Anne, by the way, this is your tag and you're gonna see this video. I know you need to have Graham come back on your channel and chat with us, just because, yes, I want to hear the accent. And yes, I don't mind if you tell him that. Yeah, I'm kind of addicted to the English accent. But anyway, the first place that I ever heard about Reborns was on one of those documentaries, because apparently they're much more popular over in the UK than, and have been for a longer amount of time than they are here in the States. But I was always like, oh my gosh, that would be so cool, because I had read further after watching that documentary and knew the things that they could be used for. Oh, that would be so cool to have that in the States. And then it kind of became a thing here, and oh my gosh, I'm so grateful, because the doll lover in me absolutely cannot get enough. So no, I do not think there is such thing as my last doll. What are some current favorite dolls in your collection? Well, honestly, like I said, I only have 3. They're all relatively new. Hope is my oldest. She's a little over a year old in my collection. And then Baby Faith and Baby Grace are both about a month old in my collection now. 5 weeks, 6 weeks, something like that in my collection. And honestly, they're all such different sculpts that I have to say I cannot pick a favorite. They are all my favorites for different reasons, and used more at different times for different things. Hope is, if I had to pick a favorite, it would be Hope, no question, because she is the first and has the most sentimental attachment in the reason that I bonded with her. So if I had to pick a favorite, no question, it would be her. And she would be the one baby that, like, I love all 3 of my Reborns and honestly can't see ever getting rid of any of them. But she would be the one that I would say for sure is a forever baby in my collection. Baby Faith is my cuddle baby. She is my bedtime baby that, oh my gosh, I love. And then Baby Grace is my one awake sculpt. I find myself doing more things with her during my activity time of the day, because there's something about when I just need to cuddle a baby and I just need the comfort, Hope is the one that I turn to, because she has that attachment of having been such a comfort right at the beginning of my adopting her, as I was and still am. There are definitely still days that I couldn't make it through without Hope in the grieving of my precious Dusty. But I love Hope for that. I'll just sit and hold her, and I'll tell her stories about, and I will say, your Auntie Dusty. Like, I talk to these dolls. I know, y'all. But, I mean, I guess it is just a form of role play. But I sit and I tell her stories, and I rock her and I hold her. And it's just so comforting. And then Baby Faith is in the bed with me. And so she helps at night, because nights used to be very hard for Dusty. And then there's my precious friend Rita too, which lately we have had a few more later nights. And then there, y'all, my Susie, most of the time, nighttime is when we talk. But nights, you know, I'm so used to, I guess it's the nurse in me, and I'm so used to being up all night with them. I was always up with Dusty at night. Always. And then typically I am up with Rita at night. And then Susie and I have just talked at night because that's just how things started. Because the first weekend that we connected and started talking, she was having a very rough weekend. Her daughter was leaving for Disney, and the anniversary of losing her other daughter was coming up just days later. And so she wasn't sleeping, and she was a mess. And so that's why we started talking at night. But baby Faith has, you know, she does help in that when I do get off the phone and get off the phone with Susie and get my Rita settled, then baby Faith does make it easier for me to get to sleep and stay asleep. And that's the challenge, because the nurse in me wants to wake up at every little thing. But baby Faith, I don't know, something about her helps me to stay asleep. And then Grace, being my awake sculpt, I feel like she's more the daytime, you know, when we're awake and when I'm doing things. She's the one, and she's my smallest of all three of my babies, so she's the easiest one for me to carry around. So when I'm going from room to room a lot, she goes with me. What doll do I want next? There's actually a micro preemie baby that I really want. Like I've said before, I'm not very good at knowing the sculpts. But there is a tiny micro preemie, and I know Misty at Kits to Cradles Nursery used to have this baby in her collection, this sculpt in her collection. She had this baby as a little boy, and she named him Aspen. So Misty, if you see this video and you know what sculpt that was, please comment it down below for me, because Aspen, your Aspen baby, is the next sculpt that I want in my collection. Because I do find myself having an easier time carrying around the little preemies, and so I'm thinking a little micro preemie I could literally take everywhere, and I would love that. Have I ever forgotten a doll's name? Yes, there have been times that I have pulled a doll out of the storage in the basement for something, and I have been like, I don't remember what I called this doll. But dolls that I'm active with, no, I have never forgotten their names. And so, once again, I just want to say thank you, Anne, for this tag. And, thank you, friends, for bearing with me in this a little bit scattered video, being that it's my first full-on Reborn video. And I look forward to what comes next in our Reborn community videos here. Baby Hope and Baby Faith and Baby Grace and I will see you in another video somewhere down the road. For now, please enjoy your journey and your babies in whatever way that looks like for you.